Morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. Morning. The time is 10 a.m., August the 2nd. Here at City Council Chambers, I'm calling to order the Port of Entry Advisory Committee meeting. And we'll start with roll call. Mónica Salinas.
Here.
Carlos Fernández. Ricardo Cervantes.
Yes.
José David González.
Present.
Orfelio Quintanilla. Luis Hinojosa.
Here.
Rick Laurel.
Present.
Emilio Richet. Jean Lindgren.
Present.
Rodolfo Garza.
Here.
Robert Morris.
Jorge Cavazos for Robert Morris.
Robert, welcome, Mr. Cavazos. Jerry Jason Hinojosa.
Present.
Y Gerardo Maldonado. Let the record show that a quorum of the committee members is present, that this meeting is duly called, and that the notice of the meeting was posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Do we have any public comments, citizens? Mr. Aleman? You can, for the record, your name, please.
Good morning. My name is Juan Aleman. I'm a general manager at the Love's Travel Stop on Mines Road, on 101 Pinnacle Road. So really, I wanted to talk about, I've been with this company over 10 years now, and they support, and I have some information here, I fully support a nonprofit organization. I'm not sure if anybody here is aware of the Children's Miracle Network. And so every year, the last week was going to start in August 25th this year, and all the way through September 29th. And we just raise donations for this nonprofit organization. And so I'm asking the city for support for we do different events. Last year, we raised $30,000 from in our location. We did from a car show, family activities, a Jamaica event, so different events that we did, Zumba session. So I'm really just looking for support. I've been speaking, Vanessa invited me this morning, and see if I can maybe use a recreation center or different city facilities to do events. And the information in here, every dollar that we raise goes 100% to the San Antonio Children's Hospital. Every children here in the Webb County that needs medical attention, it either goes to Corpus or San Antonio. So our funds go directly to the San Antonio Children's Hospital. So I just had a lot of information on that. So this is my first time being here, so I really don't know the whole process of just presenting.
We'll share that information. There's several organizations here that we can share that information.
Yeah.
We have the brokers, the Mexican brokers, transportation, Laredo Economic Development.
Taking into consideration, you just made a comment right now that you want to support the hospital in San Antonio. Is there any place we can get here on Laredo? Being a Laredo one in the heart, man, I kind of focus here on Laredo, man.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get with the representative of the San Antonio Hospital. What are their ideas of bringing a children's hospital to Laredo?
But, yeah, not even a children's hospital, just, some kind of, association or something that needs it here in Laredo, it's just a reaching out for that.
Okay. I'll get more information on that. All right. So
Thank you so much. You can give it to Yvette Libon,
President, I have.
and she'll get it to us. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next item, the agenda, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
JD, first. Second, Mr. Hinojosa. Any comments, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Items for discussion. Discussion with possible actions to change Article 6 officers. A member shall elect a chair and a vice chair by majority vote for 1-year term who shall be eligible for re-election. The change would be the member shall elect a chair and a vice chair by the majority of votes 1 year without the eligibility of re-election and any other matters there hereinto. And I'm the one that put this thing on the agenda. I really personally feel that everybody should have the opportunity to be a chair and a co-chair. I think if one does it yearly, that's more than enough. So,
Motion to approve.
motion to approve by Mr. Second. Second by Mr. Gonzalez. Any comments, debates?
No, I really think it's a good idea, taking into consideration, we got, a lot of type A personalities and having different leadership to present their ideas. I think we should move forward with this, so this is my humble observation.
Yeah, agreed to. Ditto.
I just need clarification on this one. The chair and vice chair can be even a member with no vote? Like,
The no vote cannot be chair.
okay.
Has to be a voting member.
Just the voting members.
Just voting
Just
members,
voting
okay.
That's correct.
Any other discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? This motion passes unanimously. So we were gonna have Orfelia here to bring us an update on the Mexican side, an update regarding the World Trade Bridge and the hazardous material on World Trade Bridge expansion project on behalf of the state of Tamaulipas and any other matters therein too. I have no idea where he's at. I sent him a message this morning, and he hasn't answered, so. That was he was gonna give us an update. Apparently, the thing that is missing on the Mexican side is the confinement station where if there's a spill on their import lot, and so the state of Tamaulipas was gonna be doing an RFQ or something like that. That's what I know, and that's what I wanted to hear from him, where it's at, and so that they can approve hazardous material on World Trade Bridge for certain types of materials.
Is that
Go ahead.
contingent on the expansion, or is
No,
not one or the
It
other?
has nothing to do, on this side, it's been approved since 2015 or 16? 15, it's been approved since 2015, and so we didn't have, how could I say, a good information from the prior governor.
No.
He didn't really want to have hazardous material, and that's why they did all the piping at the bottom of the bridge and all that stuff that they did to safeguard it, but at the end, they were lacking that station. So
Bringing it back to their top.
they're bringing it
top
up
view.
to the new governor, and the governor was a little bit more receptive on doing the hazmat, so we wanted to hear what he had to say. And the expansion, I think it's moving along on the Mexican side. I heard that the NAD Bank was gonna finance the studies that they had to do on the Mexican side. And that's what I know on that part, so they're moving forward. I don't know.
If I may,
you wanna-
Mr. Chairman, Yvette Limon for the record, just to give the committee an update, I, along with the consultants from SEA, Sid Milky, Adrian Romero, and David Randolph, attended the Binational Bridges Border Crossings Group plenary meeting in Washington DC, July 21st. We provided the committee, the group, an update on our project, and everything is moving along. All the presenters pretty much just gave the group an update of where their projects stand. On the side, after the meeting was over, we spoke to Hillary Quam from the State Department and Caroline Mays from TxDOT, and they advised us that our project is moving along and we're following the correct process. So the environmental studies have begun. They are working on the process. So nothing's at this point holding us back. We're moving forward with the World Trade Bridge expansion. As you all are aware, and some of you participated, others may have read it in the paper, heard it on the news. We had Senator Ted Cruz come visit us, and along with Congressman Cuellar and representatives from Senator Cornyn's office, following up with the letter that they submitted. And the project is moving along. They're allowing or helping the different border communities. I believe there's 4 border bridges that are in the same dilemma that the city of Laredo is in. So they're working on expediting the 4 presidential permits. I also attended a meeting in Senator Cruz's office while in DC, and they asked for more information, gave them more information, and the project is moving along. So as soon as I get the July update, I will email it to all of you so that you can read the engineer's notes and kind of where we're at. But that's where we're at on the expansion project.
Thank you very much for the update, Ms. Limon.
Yep. I'm sorry, go ahead. You know, just to add, I know, in discussions, with Ms. Guerra's office, they have a bill out there, HR 3135. I know I'm getting ahead, but since we're discussing on the infrastructure improvements, hopefully we can maybe have an update on that as well, because that's referring strictly to Port of Entry Modernization Trust Fund. And it's kind of like equivalent, just to kind of break it down, it's and on the ocean environment, we have a harbor maintenance fee. And that's strictly, the funds are used strictly for infrastructure in the harbor and dredging. And this one here would be a land border fee, and that would be equivalent to that harbor maintenance fee, just exclusively for infrastructure. That would, considering the volume of truck that we have, I think it'd be very helpful, especially for Port Laredo. Congressman Cuellar is one of the, he's the author of this, but he has support with 4 or 5 other congressmen as well, especially along the South Texas border. So we can have some kind of information presented on the next meeting.
Sure.
Like, I'm getting ahead of myself, but at the same time, since it's dealing with infrastructure, I just want to bring that up.
Sure, I'll reach out to them and get the details on the House bill and
Thank
share
you.
it with you all.
Appreciate that.
I think,
Mr.
if I could
Logan?
make an additional comment. I just
Oh,
think it'd
go
be
ahead,
good
please.
for us as a group or organization committee to have these kind of like a cheat sheet, right? Knowing what funds are available out there and what we can apply towards. Being a planner, I've worked on our local, regional, and our state planning agencies. This organization operates with all our subject matter experts, but it's very disconnected with what's happening in the planning world. And so getting, at least on this view, to be able to see what funds they're working with and making sure they're allocating them where we feel it's needed by the industry would be a better relationship going forward for a lot of these organizations. Government does one thing and private sector does another thing, but we need to work together to make sure we get these roads, and as JD said, the infrastructure, as we all know, Laredo lacks a lot of it, and this coordination, I think, with this group could help push that forward, at least pressing the people or the funds that are allocating it with where it's needed exactly is very much so what I see this committee serving. I know we all change seats, and some stay and some are gonna, turn over with their organization, so that's just something I want to make sure that I commented it going forward.
Sure.
Just having that cheat sheet for the team or the committees coming forward, what's available, what's program type thing, because it kind of happens in the background all the time. If you know where to look, if you're a planner or you go to these meetings, often P&Z, you know where things are going, but if as you're making committees decisions and you don't know where those funds are, then maybe we could reallocate them. Just the state infrastructure bank funds, there's a lot of money there that can happen just for the ports of entry, as JD mentioned, just specifically for land ports, but it's being utilized in other places because the pressure's not applied. So,
Right, look
Thank you,
into that.
Jason. Mr. Logan?
Real quick, in this trip to Washington, was there any talks of the new bridge with the senators and congressmen?
They not specifically to
specifically?
me, because, I had no information. I know Senator Cruz did mention it when he was here, and that's one of the 4 bridges that they're, put on their legislation for the presidential permit. But they didn't ask me directly. Glafiro Montemayor, along with his consultant, did make a presentation at the binational plenary meeting as well. So, he was present.
Yvette, can we have a copy of that presentation? And I don't know if the city has available the last environmental studies or any studies on the 4-5 that we can share with the committee? No? We don't have anything that,
They, as of now, that I know of, they haven't shared any data with the city because it's still being handled
So-
privately.
for the location, if we don't, as a city, we don't have any studies or anything, how do we come out with that location? Or Is there something that past administration
No,
has the
I
studies?
believe that the proposed location for the fifth bridge is outside of the city limits. It's in the county
The county has.
property, so they're working with the county on that.
Okay.
It's based off of a 2007 study, if I'm not mistaken, right? There was 3 locations in the south, 2007 study done, and then they determined it was gonna be Pitamangana was one, and then there was another one a little further south, and then the last one being the location right now, or there's 3 or,
Who did this study?
I've seen a study within the planning world, let's just say. I'm pretty sure it was a private sector, but I don't know if it was TxDOT's specific study or it was a MPO study, but I know I've seen it. There's a 2007 bridge study, so they identified those locations and they put right on there why it should and why it shouldn't.
Pros and cons.
Correct.
That-
Historical elements, in coordination with Nuevo Laredo and where they want to put their bridge and infrastructure availability, all those things come out in that report, and then they determined the third one being,
Are all 3 of those locations still the same owner on the Mexican side?
on the Mexican side, I do not know. It was La Pitamangana, whatever's west of there, that's when they proposed to do the new World Trade Tower. The gentleman came last year. So that bridge is no longer gonna go there, and then the one that they've accepted is the same landowners or the 2 landowners on the sides. It's what I've seen. Again, planning world, right, I get to see a lot of these things when the government sector, it doesn't really emanate out if you're not reading the documents or we're not in communication like this. So, yes, I do agree that that third location is not outside the city, I mean, it's outside the city limits, but what does it do for our network, right? What does it do for our transportation? That's my big concern with any of these, is that we're not providing the infrastructure necessary to make this traffic flow through the community. That's preaching to the choir here, but that study should come up, and any of the other information that's already been presented, we should probably collect and make these decisions, right? Because we want to go forward and move this community, I think, having.
As a committee, I don't think we should care who's the owner of the land, but I think we should care on see that the studies are updated and it's still the right location, because I don't know how old those studies are. But I think I don't know if we can invite for the next meeting somebody from Glafiro or for representing the 4-5, so we can have access to that studies or.
Well, we can invite them, but we have the Port of Corpus Christi coming next meeting, to our meeting to give a presentation on the Port of Corpus. But yeah, we can invite everybody.
Yeah, because I think it's very important that we keep an eye on those studies, that they are updated, that it's still the right location, that we don't have another white elephant like the Mines Road traffic, and then after so many years we have to move the traffic, and I don't know, I mean, I haven't got to see that presentation.
Yeah.
And if you have access and you can share with us, that will be amazing.
So I no longer work for the government. I don't know if that's been an update. I retired early.
You look younger than me.
You know, life's hard.
What's you working?
But the idea was reviewing all these plans, the same thing, coming back home, infrastructure is number 1 and water, right? So just gonna preach this out there. If the bridge is out there in the county and the city does not plan to annex, I mean, that's just the way the city can get it, it's just annex out there. We have to work with the water. And so if it's already there, this is all private investment. In my conversations with all the private sector, a lot of those studies, it's always a riff, right? It's Bridge 4-5, Tamaulipas versus Nuevo Leon, and I don't own a single truck here, and so I don't really understand that dynamics. But for me, how do we improve that situation? How do we make it better for both worlds, right? And we need that connectivity, we need that transportation, and we need, I think last time you might have mentioned, the opportunity to cross at whatever bridge is most available for you. Why don't we incorporate these technologies? Bring the bridge, bring the technology, so that way we're going wherever we have to, and we reduce the congestion. In my conversations with, not specifically Glafiro, but the team of theirs, it's always been butting heads, right? And this goes long before any of my relationships here. And I understand that business is business, right? We wanted to go through one place, but being a resident of Laredo and not owning any truck or a warehouse, traffic, that's over there, right? That's y'all's world. I don't see any of that money, but the part of the traffic impacts everybody. So trying to provide these solutions for the community will serve the traffic better, but it'll serve the industry much better. They'll say Laredo's got the fastest ports. You can cross at any bridge. They got 3 international crossings. I mean, now we're talking, but when we're trying to stifle one, right, or not let this one go forward. This is before any of this, from the 2008 studies, from what I understood, is that trying to stop one from the other, I think Laredo will serve well by getting all the infrastructure it needs and pulling in the resources we need, like water specifically. So if the county's got it, or they want to share it with the city, maybe we can work a relationship out with that water, because we got the water and they don't, right? So that's kind of a, let's get this thing rolling and make something happen for everybody. So, sorry, that was my little soapbox there. That was my retirement.
So in the prior meeting, we discussed and we voted to, and we advised council to look for a new location for a new bridge for the city of Laredo, because that one belongs to the county. And so, and it seems like they're not gonna work with the city anymore. They already filed their application. So, and what happens if it doesn't get built, we have no idea. So we have to look for the future, and we need to start now, because we only have 10 years before the world trade expansion, whatever, gets saturated and will be at a big loss. So we asked Yvette to recommend it, to take it to council so they can start looking and updating the bridge master plan as well, plus looking for a new location. That was our recommendation.
I attended the meeting. I'm familiar with the studies. I've
Perfect.
read through them.
Perfect. Any other comment?
Next question, Yvette, taking into consideration, there was a request, did they, and was that ever, my apologies, because I've been out of circulation for certain things, but, was that presented to the council, and did they comment on that, or was there any discussion on that?
No, at this point, there hasn't been discussion on looking for an alternative site for the city's bridge system. They have begun discussions on preparing the Columbia Solidarity Bridge and looking into also expanding the bridge, and we'll start dialogue with Customs and Border Protection and perhaps enter into another donation acceptance project to enhance their infrastructure, to prepare it for future growth as we have prepared World Trade Bridge.
Thank you, Brianna. Taking into consideration, you just mentioned the DAP, the donation assistance program. That's not just open to the city, but to anybody, I believe,
It
right?
is.
So
It is.
if we could kind of, being our experts here, we can kind of share that with our members, or share that who we need to share that with. So if that's possible, see if there gets some additional funding on it.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for bringing that up, Ms. Limon. Yeah, at the roundtable with Senator Ted Cruz and Representative Cuellar, Dr. Marco Gonzalez of the government of Nuevo Leon in Colombia did announce, and I was surprised to hear for the first time that they will begin pursuing an expansion of the Columbia Bridge.
Do you know what type of expansion? Is it expanding the bridge or the actual import lot? Because when they did that donation, the project and the blueprints were to have an exact building inside that premises. They have enough space to do something exactly that, but when I heard the expansion, I don't know exactly.
What I heard was an expansion very similar to that of World Trade Bridge, another span with additional 8 lanes.
Oh, bridge, an expansion. Oh, okay.
The bridge span along with their facilities. If they require additional primary stations, we'll do the same as it was done at World Trade Bridge back in 2011.
Very
To prepare the bridge span and their primaries for future growth.
And so that is also a hazardous crossing. And
Oh, that's gonna stay, that remains there, we just wanted an alternative.
so what I was just going to comment was that Tamaulipas got World Trade and Nuevo Leon's got Colombia. Both are above our water intake system, and water being an issue, that's a sticking point. And so just not pushing away the one in the south, because it's still also further downstream. Just strategically placing these bridges, like you mentioned, if we're going to put one, maybe it'd be above our hazardous points, just thinking future wise, right? So that way, those sticking points, and when they do come, say, hey, any hazardous material crossing or an incident happens, we got a water intake at least north of whatever that can still feed the community.
That's part of the study, there's an impact on environmental. Thank you. Any other comments? So, any new business, other business that you all want to, I wanted to comment that we're gonna have the Port of Corpus Christi at our next, meeting. And I also wanted to comment about having the meeting every month and make them short like this. If not, we're gonna add a lot of things to the meetings and they're gonna get pretty long. It's gonna be over an hour. I don't know. Think about it. I'll put it in the next agenda item so that we can vote what you all want to do on the meetings. And we'll take them from there. Any other business?
Comment, right now you made a reference that you wanna have meetings every month. Taking consideration, we haven't voted on that, we're gonna have the meeting in 2 months, or next month we have the Port of Corpus Christi in?
I was gonna set it for September the 6th. But then again, we'll send an email and have comments on the date so that as many people can come. You know what I mean? Like,
On the meetings for every month, since we have the limitation of the 2 absence for each member, don't we just schedule every 2 months the regular meetings and call the other ones extraordinary meetings so people get not affected by attendance? Like, I'm just seeing the chairs right now, and probably some members that are absent right now, they have already 2 absences. So in order for them not to be affected,
some of are on vacation and the other ones are.
yeah,
are attending other conferences.
and most probably we are all business people, and I mean, I'm most of the times here and I schedule my meetings, but I know that there's another members that they are traveling more. So, or we should take in consideration, change the absence, or?
If I may, Chairman, that's what I was gonna suggest. Maybe as you propose to change the bylaws on the term for the chair and vice chair, perhaps you can amend the attendance. I know I have not received information to say, hey, people are not attending, because since day one, when this committee was created, we have always had a quorum, and it's very well attended. So the issue of the attendance has not been brought to my attention, but you can change the bylaws. Something you may want to look at and think about for perhaps the next meeting or future meetings. But as of now, I have not.
Is everybody okay with the morning meetings also?
For me, it's perfect in the morning.
It's better. We'll keep it in the morning. All right, we'll have our next meeting in September, and that'll be none absent, an excused meeting, and we'll work with that. We'll discuss it amongst us, and we'll take it from there. Any other?
Mr. Chairman, I'll advise you for the September meeting. It's my understanding that they're gonna do some renovations here in council chambers in the month of September, but I will let you know. We can set the meeting, and if we need to change the location, we'll change the location. If I may, just to kind of do my director's report, our revenues as of July 31st, I know we are just closing the month. I didn't bring a copy yet because it's not final, but our budget to actual, we are up 10.5% compared to budget as of July 31st. Our comparison from last year to the current year, we're up 6.9% in revenues compared to last year, same time period. Our commercial activity, we're up 6%, which is about 135,000 additional crossings compared to last year. And on the non-commercial, we're up 10.3%, about 370,000 additional crossings on non-commercial. And our pedestrians were up 17.2%, about 276,000 additional pedestrians compared to last year. So that's as of July. It will be posted on the city website once it becomes final. Also want to invite you to our budget workshops. Our budget workshops will begin this coming week on Tuesday. The first meeting will be in the evening, beginning at 5:30. So I invite you, if you have time and would like to attend, you can attend. And then if there's other following meetings, then they will occur beginning at noon on Wednesday and if needed, Thursday. Here in council chambers, yes. I will be making a presentation with the bridge, the budget. I always do every year. I know they want to hear how we're doing and what we're looking for in the future. So I will include recommendations on infrastructure, as you all have
New infrastructure.
noted here on the meetings.
New infrastructure. Nice. You want to comment on the U-turns, Richard?
Good morning, Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, Kent Richard. Yes, I wanted to mention, I put in front of you World Trade Bridge, the numbers for May and June, as well as Columbia Bridge for the months of May and June. Basically, if kind of stepping back to April, May, and June, we have been in the 250 range. April was 250, May 258, and then for the month of June, 244. July looks about the same as these last 3 months as well. For June, total number of accounts that had U-turns was 179. You can see the breakdown on each customer account, how many each one had. And yes, the question, the answer, our front office still continues to call these repeat offenders, I call them, to try and get them off this list. Now, since we've been tracking this, some 2 years or so now, we were up at the beginning in the high 550. So it is nice to see that the number has gone all the way down into the 240, 250 range. We're still pushing for it and hoping that we can even cut it down a little bit more. But our front office is working with the customers and making those telephone calls, talking to the customers when they're coming into the office as well, to let them know, make sure you have money on your account. It's impeding on our traffic flow. We're having to stop it, having to U-turn them, get them out of the runway, I call it, and then releasing traffic once more. So we will continue pushing.
That's exciting. Those are wonderful numbers to see. I mean, compared for the first time when we saw them, 570 something.
Exactly.
Great work to the bridge team. And
But I want our team and our staff to continue and even push it. I would love to see it under 200. That's my goal, personal goal. We just keep pushing, 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 you know, and we want them to get tired of us making those phone calls and telling them, you know, all we ask is keep money in your account. That's all we're asking for. So,
Awesome. It's like 12 hours of delays here.
yes,
If you go by 3 minutes, it's like 12 hours.
correct.
So it is delays. There's still delays.
Yes.
significant improvement.
Good morning, Lupita Reyes. For the record, I'm gonna give my mini update on the auto replenish accounts. For the months of May and June, we had 172 accounts. They're not all new accounts. They can be old accounts that decided to join the auto replenish feature. And I just want to explain that it's not always gonna be the numbers going up. The auto replenish amounts, they fluctuate. And the reason being is because we, the department, we close accounts. We have accounts that have been active, but with no activity for more than a year. We start closing accounts, and it might be that some of those accounts have the auto replenish. So it can go down, it can go up, so it fluctuates. But up to now, it seems like we've been little by little going up. We're still enforcing all of our new applicants to come and join. It's not mandatory yet, so we cannot really tackle them, but yes, we are enforcing them for them to join the auto replenish. Like that, they can avoid being U-turned. So,
Awesome.
Any comment?
Wonderful.
Congratulations, because you have an average of 100, like, every month, what I see on the reports, and obviously it's the work that your staff is doing. I mean, getting 100 auto replenish accounts a month, it's
Yeah.
congratulations.
we're trying, we're getting there. Yes, we are.
I guess the signs work, no? The signs that you have there.
Advertisement.
The advertisement is doing a good job as well. So what about the repetitive offenders? Can they be obligated to have a credit card on file?
That's what we're working on. I know staff worked on the contract, a contract. So we are, it's in legal, under review, so that we can go back and make it mandatory and force our repeat offenders to have to participate in the auto replenish.
Hopefully that would help.
And will
tremendous- I mean,
reduce it
not
somewhat.
obligating everybody, but at least the repetitive.
The
I mean, if
offenders.
This is gonna be your penalties, you're gonna have to put a credit card on the line. Any other comments?
Chairman, go ahead, JD.
Now, we're at a meeting this morning, I know that we're trying to promote the use of the fast bridge. We reached out to this committee, I know that we're trying to use all venues, to try to get, more participation, actually get a fast office working with CBP in addition to the trade that's going up there and visiting. So, one thing that CBP is requesting, and this is just, more than anything else, information for the trade stakeholders, if they could provide, new members that were willing to participate in the CTPAP program and the FAST, so we can go ahead and try to get an office here in Laredo. And I know it's been kind of slow, and hopefully we can get the numbers, considering that we're the largest and important, everybody kind of likes to brag about it. If we can get the actual numbers and try to get new members to participate, we can kind of focus more on getting an office here, so we can work on, just expediting the process. So hopefully that, we have our members here that are present that can provide that information. They don't have to give it to me. I know I asked for it before, but I didn't go straight to CBP on that. I'm sure Monica or Arturo can provide an email on who they can send it to, so they can get the names and the individuals that are willing to participate in the FAST that are new members. So just to bring that up as a for information.
Yeah.
Chairman, I have three things, I'll be brief. One is to further communicate the global trade numbers as reported through World City from the U.S. Census Bureau. I know I'm preaching to the choir for most of you, but to put it in a little context, the global trade through May for all ports to all countries is actually down 3% per year this year. But the Port of Laredo's trade in terms of the import-export value that's crossed is actually up 10%. So the Port of LA, Chicago O'Hare, Newark, and New York are all down between 1% and 10%. So that's why we've been the number one port on a monthly basis since October. We finished number 3 last year, but we had that momentum and the global impact of nearshoring is starting to take effect. So we need to stop saying we're the number one land port. We're the number one port. And so thank you for that first item. The second, I received a communication, actually it was Robert Morris and I, just shortly before, it was last week, I believe, so it wasn't in time to put on the agenda to talk about it, but I'd like to, for us to consider this item to be discussed in a future agenda item. The communication I got was from a legislative affairs coordinator from IBC Corporate Bank, and it has to do with the tomato suspension agreement support letter. And I can provide information to Yvette and everybody for us to consider talking about that. The impact is that imports of tomatoes have probably more than their fair share of import duties, and so it's impacting the consumer in the United States. And there's some let's say lobbying efforts, advocacy efforts to try and remedy that. So thank you for allow me to speak on that. The last item I'd like to mention, some of you are aware the Laredo Economic Development Corporation hosts the Pathways for Trade Symposium. And so for this year, we're hosting the 30th event. I have some cards. I'm not trying to be a used car salesman here, but I think it might be important for some of you and your organizations and your companies to consider attending. We will have Ken Roberts as the keynote speaker on the evening of September 20th. And then we're going to have keynote speakers from U.S. Cold Storage, Mission Produce, and the Texas International Produce Association, along with panels. Also in the evening reception, we're going to be honoring trade ambassadors for Laredo, Licenciado Eduardo Garza and Mario Palos Garza. And so it's going to be a lot of great promotion for the theme that we've chosen this year, which is cold chain. Also, we're going to have a panel representing the Port of Laredo. Ms. Yvette Limon's going to represent the municipality and the Bridge Department of Laredo. We're going to have Ingeniero Ivan Torres from the municipality of Nuevo Laredo, and we're going to have Dr. Marco Gonzalez of Columbia Nuevo Leon. So please check it out and let me know if you're interested in attending. Thank you.
Good luck in your event. Thank you. And just to add on Mr. Gonzalez, CT-PAD office, the closest one is in Houston. And I think we have also the opportunity that it's so close to Monterrey that we should have it here in Laredo. And so that would be, so what we're trying to look is that everybody speaks the same language and asking for the same things from the federal government, because we would like to have them in Laredo. Any other business? Yes, George.
Yes, on that topic, we know what a success the fast lanes have been. Credit to the city of Laredo and everyone who's involved, but to get to stimulate more traffic, it's currently at 30% of total traffic that flows through these fast lanes, and every time you show up there, it seems like there's no traffic at all. And that's by virtue of the fact that they go from the bridge, they do not go into the U.S. Customs compound, and they go straight ahead, and they get released that way. But how do we stimulate more traffic? How do we make that happen? Because it was even pointed out in today's meeting from CBP that even during peak times, a fast lane shipment will take about a half an hour, and going through the compound takes about an hour, and that's during peak times, which is a vast improvement to those 3-4 hours that we saw years ago. And so how do we get there? Is that an important element is CT-PAD certification. And it's not just certification, it's validation. Validation requires the vetting of CBP, CT-PAD officers, security chain specialists that are located closest in Houston. So the idea is to have a Laredo-based office that will obviously attract officers from Laredo that are familiar with at least, going to Nuevo Laredo and into Mexico. So and what's the objective? So that they can conduct these validations, so that a company, even though it may be certified, it's not allowed to use a fast lane. However, once that validation takes place, they're allowed to use that company, that drayage company, or that Mexican line haul carrier can participate in use of that fast lane. So that's the objective. The objective, once again, stimulate more traffic for the fast lanes, but how do we do that? Is getting some more of these companies validated so that they can make use of those fast lanes. Just wanted.
Thank you, George, for the announcement. And just for everybody, there's two bills. One's Mr. Cuellar for the World Trade Bridge, is to do the actual permit and the environmental studies at the same time. The other bill by Ted Cruz is if you apply this year and the end of next year, you can get your permit within months, like the Trump administration. And so that bill does have an ending by next year. So I just wanted to share that on those bills that are floating.
So that was commented on the meeting that
The
they
round
had,
table.
all that? I mean, can we have a briefing of what they said over there? I mean, because I don't know how many of the committee was there, but how many people in the committee was there, but just a briefing that regarding funds and bills and, things like that.
Yes, pretty much what was mentioned in the press conference was discussed in the meeting. We had people, of course, from Laredo. We had people from Judge Trevino from Cameron County, and we had folks from Maverick County, Eagle Pass, and pretty much what was discussed in the press conference, that was what was discussed in the meeting. But they did mention that the bill that Chairman Dominguez is making reference to, it should be approved by December, and then it will be presented to the president, and I believe the president has 60 days to act on it, and if they don't act on it, then they'll automatically grant the presidential permits. So I'll get with Congressman Cuellar's staff and Senator Cruz's staff and see if there's the document, the written document that I can obtain and share with you all.
Taking into consideration and how, since this being new business and I brought it up on the bridge expansion, since I requested information on HR 3135, if you can provide that update for the additional information, because they're kind of related. They're different bills, and actually there's three. There's Senate and 2 House bills. So you can provide information on that. I think it'd be really great for the next meeting.
I'll ask them for that as well.
Any other new business? So next meeting, we'll schedule it for September. We'll discuss the dates. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Salinas, Monica Salinas. All those in favor? I think there's nobody again. Thank you very much.